Well, kia ora and welcome into the Harness Half Hour, proudly brought to you by HRNZ Marketing. I'm Jess Smith, and this week we talk to Jack Harrington, Kirk Larsen, Catherine Cameron and bookmaker Richard Wilson. And here are today's headlines. Alexandra Park kicked off their festive carnival last Friday night with the Northern Breeders' Stakes race night. The Breeders' Stakes was taken out by Dream About Me for regular driver Tim Williams and the All-Stars team, whilst the Summer Cup was also won by the All-Stars, this time with Ashley Locas, also driven by Tim Williams. And the countdown is on to the Inter-Dominion Grand Final. The Kiwi Brigade competed with distinction throughout the series, with the three Kiwi pacers, Cruz, Bromax, Spankham and Pat's Delight, being the top 3 point scorers in the pacing ranks. Meanwhile, Kiwis Speeding Spur and Monte Python also qualified for the Trotters Final. And locally, the Akaroa Cup was won by Bailey's Night on Sunday, driven by Sam Otley for Jack Harrington. Well, of course, focusing on domestic highlights over the weekend and the Akaroa Cup taken out by Bailey's Night. Joining me on the show is trainer Jack Harrington. Jack, congratulations on the win.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. He went super. I was real wrapped with the run.
And considering he had to do quite a bit of work in the running, what were you think when he was still sitting parked at the top of the turn?
I was reasonably confident still, because that's sort of his go, really. He's not a fit sprint horse. He's more of a horse that likes to get in a bit of a dog fight and out-tough them. So, yeah, we're still pretty confident. Fantastic.
And, of course, it's win number 7 now from 45 starts. And can you tell us about how the horse came to be in your team, Jack?
Yeah, well, at the time when I sort of first started off, I was doing a lot of breaking in for Paul Court, and I think it was just right place, right time, really, because he was looking to sell the horse, and yeah, offered it to us, and I got a few owners together, and yeah, then we bought him as about a 2-year-old mid-season, 2-year-old season.
Okay, and going forward, I know he had been nominated for the likes of the New Zealand Cup, and he's been in some tough fields of late, Jack. But have you got any targets for him over the summer months?
Nothing really set in stone, but probably most likely stick to the Country Cup sort of races. Like we'll most likely aim at the Ashburton Cup for his next start, and yeah, just go from there really. But we're just going to really stick into the standing starts from now on and try and miss the mobiles due to his sort of bad manners, and the mobiles fizz them off a wee bit too much.
Fair enough too. And for those who aren't aware, Jack, we've had a few conversations in the past about your background in harness racing, but you had no family ties to the sport at all when you started.
Yeah, no, that's right, no family ties, just went to the races one day and quite enjoyed it and thought I'd give it a go.
Which is a bit of a random way to get into it. Who were some of the people that have helped you out in the early stages, Jack?
Well, I first started off working for Andrew Stewart. He was the first person I worked for when I was still at school. We were doing just weekends and the odd afternoon or day I didn't want to go to school, really. I went out to Ray Stewart's. Yeah, so I was there for about 18 months, I'd say. Mm-hmm. And then went out to Tim Butts and did near on a year there, working for him. That's when I sort of started. I got my junior licence there and had a couple of drives while I was out at Tim's. And then from there I went to Robbie Holmes. He gave me a call and pretty much said I'd be the second choice driver in the stable because Matt Anderson had just left at the time, so they were looking for a junior. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I spent almost 2 years with Robbie.
Oh, fantastic. And then, of course, going out on your own. And, gee, could you have ever dreamed that you'd have the success that you've had so far?
No, definitely not. So there's just a lot of luck involved in getting the right horses walk through the gate, and it's sort of just kick things off really, and hopefully just they keep rolling through.
Exactly. And of course, leading into the yearling sales, Jack, would you be starting to look at the next superstar for the stable and getting some new owners involved?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's that time of year again. The sales are just around the corner, so just starting to advertise now and trying to get a few people interested and see who's keen to go to the sales and potentially buy a horse or buy a couple of shares. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if anyone's wanting to reach out to you, can they find you on Facebook, or what's the best way, Jack?
Yeah. So there's the Gold Star Racing Facebook page, which are on there, or also like I'm on Twitter or Instagram, or just HRNZ's got my phone number. Get a few people just giving me phone calls. Yeah, it's whatever's easiest, really.
Fantastic, and of course, all the best this week, Jack, when you line up Jeremy Wells having his first start, and a bit of mainstream exposure for you.
Yeah, that's right. It's been good advertisement, not only for me but for the whole industry, and get a lot of people coming up to me and asking how the horse is going and that. So certainly a lot of talk about him.
Yeah.
So, hopefully everything goes to plan and we get around safely and take the next step in his career.
That's right. Getting around safely as a 2-year-old is the big thing. And thank you very much for your help in promoting the industry, and all the best going forward.
Okay, no worries. Thanks very much.
And time for social media news now, and from New Zealand, John Dunn collected his 1,000th winning drive in New Zealand. That came at the Akaroa meeting on Sunday, and he features on the HRNZ social media platforms, along with the Inter-Dominion updates from last week. In Australia, of course, again, the Inter-Dominion series dominate the harness news from across the ditch. And in the USA and Canada, foiled again. The world's richest standardbred had his final training run for his career. Murph Murphy on Facebook shared the unique video of that historic moment. You can find him on Facebook, Murph Murphy. We're heading down to the deep south now, chatting with Kirk Larsen, and of course Kirk was the trainer of Tolkien, who won the last at Invercargill over the weekend. Congratulations, Kirk.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jess. Yep, it's always good to get those trotters underway.
Oh, absolutely, and he looks as though he's a horse that's really going to get better with time as well.
Yeah, definitely. He's always showed us a little bit of ability, and just the whole story with trotters just needs a few miles now.
Okay, and so going forward, what are your plans with him?
At this stage, with him winning the other day, he's eligible for the Gold Chip, which is at Gore on the 27th, so we'll probably aim for that, but I'll probably give him a run at the stage. I've nominated for Winton on Sunday, so we'll give him another run because he sort of needs a bit of practice, a bit of racing, and then he get through a few races and see whether he's good enough to, have a go at the side stakes later on.
Fantastic. Okay, and of course it is a very busy time of year for everyone in the industry, but I'd imagine you and Michelle and Tristan are also getting the team ready for the busy circuit down there?
Yeah, we've got a few in work, but a lot of young stuff, Jess. We haven't really got a lot of racehorses, so we won't have too many going too far, but they'll still take time, and better put the years in.
Exactly. And one thing I did want to have a chat with you about today, Kirk, is I know between yourself and Michelle, you've been very busy in setting up the Own the Moment syndicate. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, well, just basically after we went to that Anthony McDonald seminar that you brought down to Invercargill, Jess, and we thought, well, after listening to that, we thought, put a few ideas together and thought it's probably time. Our son Tristan's pretty keen to get into the industry, and sort of looking down the track where, we probably need to get a few more owners on board, and also to try and promote ownership. We thought we'd have a go at maybe setting a syndicate on similar lines and see how we go.
Okay, so the premise is you're looking for people to have an initial buy-in fee, but it's going to be very low monthly rates, and you're looking to go to the sales, is that right? Yeah,
at this stage, we're sort of looking at doing it three ways. We're hoping to get 5 horses from the sales, and if we did that, we're looking at about a 200 shares for that 5 horses, and the cost of that is going to be $1,000 up front, and then a $50 a month ongoing from there. We'll be running in a bank account, which all the money goes into. It doesn't go to us; it goes into a bank account to pay the bills. So we've made it so there's going to be enough money to, we don't have to go back to people for more money. So, to give people surety every month what they're actually up for, and we thought if we can do it and do it as reasonable as possible to get more people involved at a lower level,
Exactly, and I notice there are a lot of syndicates in the south, but probably not to the scale that you're looking to do this. So it's a good opportunity over the summer months to potentially get some new blood into ownership.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. We've got quite a few people already, previous owners and other people, that have actually sort of got out of horses because, they couldn't afford to. So we've got a few of them sort of looking to get back into it, but we are really looking to promote it to new people, to try and get new blood in the game. And as I say, with the structured cost, hopefully that gives them some clarity on how much it's actually going to cost. And even at $1,000, someone could take, 2 or 3 could take a share between them and things like that. So, it's giving people the opportunity that may not, have been able to afford to, have a horse to maybe get into one.
And at this time of year too, Kirk, potentially even that buy-in fee could be the perfect Christmas present for someone.
Yeah, well, I've already had a couple of people that looking at that sort of lines. That I think one lady's bought a share for her husband for a birthday, so yeah, an ideal opportunity, yeah.
Oh, that is wonderful. So if anyone's wanting to find out more, Kirk, what's the best way to get in touch with you or Michelle?
You can either email us, which is kn.larsen@extra.co.nz, or you can phone myself on 0274 370 356, or Michelle's number is 0274 860091.
Fantastic. And also on the Facebook as well. It's called the Own the Moment Syndicate. And as you heard, there's just a buy-in fee and then an ongoing low cost to be involved with a view to purchasing some yearlings from the sales and following the journey from the get-go. Kirk, well done on your win over the weekend, but as well for taking the initiative and getting this syndicate off the ground.
No, good as gold, Jess. Yep. No, we look forward to hopefully, trying to get it off the ground. It won't be easy because 200 shares, it won't be easy. But, we've got other options that if we only got, say, 160, we could do it for 4 horses, or 120, do it for 3. But we prefer to do it for 5 because I think, we've got a better chance of getting, a couple of horses to races and hopefully winning some races.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure if anyone can sell these shares, your wife can.
We're working on it.
Good on you, Kirk. Thank you very much.
No, thanks, Jess. Appreciate that.
Well, one of the features over the last couple of weeks in the harness racing world has been the introduction of tote Monte races. Of course, both have been held at Alexandra Park, and the most recent headed home a J. Abernathy training trifecta, but the winning rider was Catherine Cameron, and Catherine joins me now. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you, Jess.
A bit of a thrill, I would imagine, but what kind of emotions go through you when you're crossing the line first in a Monte race?
Well, just a relief, really, that I got home first, especially since I'd sort of gone out in front with a lap to go. And, yeah, if I'd got beat, I'd look a little bit silly, I guess. But I was writing to the instructions, and I was told she wouldn't stop. She was starting to get the wobbles a bit, but I just got ahead enough they couldn't quite catch me this time, so I was a bit lucky.
That is fantastic. And I guess in the early stages of these races, Catherine, everyone's still feeling their way. But when did you first start getting involved in harness racing and in particular the Monte riding?
Well, I've sort of been involved the last couple of years with harness racing through default, really, through being Todd Mitchell's partner. So I sort of had to learn a little bit more about putting a lot of different gear on than gallopers or show jumpers. So... But I don't get yelled at too much. It's always an achievement if I gear up at the races and nothing gets changed. But so yeah, and then because he drives a lot for Michelle and Bernie Hackett, and I help the city girls a little bit with the show horses. So just through that really, and being on the spot and being able to ride, it's sort of been by default. So it's something different and it's good fun.
So I guess, Catherine, a couple of years ago, if someone told you that you'd be riding a winner at Alexandra Park, you probably would have laughed at them?
Well, I have won some jumping Grand Prix at Alexandra Park and quite a few jumping classes there, but yes, if they said I was going to be riding a trotter in a race, I would have said they were mad. So.
And how does a standardbred, or how does riding a standardbred differ from your usual show or thoroughbred riding?
Well, obviously, I just sort of try and ride it like a thoroughbred, really. There's a lot of difference, though. I mean, I've never ridden a race thoroughbred, so, and that, yeah, there's been a lot different riding them out. I don't really think you can ride them out like you can a thoroughbred, but I just try and stay balanced and keep the horse balanced, and, they're either going to get to the line and hopefully they try as hard as they can, or they're not, so, I mean, I do just ride them like I would ride one of my thoroughbreds, to be honest. So, yeah.
And in terms of the Monte races, obviously in Europe they're very popular. In Australia they've started to get popular as well. Did you have to do any study or look up some of these races abroad just to get some tips or insights?
Well, Rena Martin, that worked for Todd and myself, she's from Finland, and she was always sort of quite keen on them. And so when they first got the few trials, we sort of Googled them and watched, and everyone has different styles. So, yeah, but then I think you've just got to find what's comfortable and what works for you, really. But I think the biggest thing is keeping the horses balanced, especially with the trotters, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. There certainly appears to be a few differing styles out there, and I'm sure it's something that's going to, someone's going to catch on to something and carry on. But, Catherine, for you, in terms of the Monte riding and harness racing, do you intend to continue doing that?
Look, while I'm needed or wanted, I don't mind doing it. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot more younger riders, and hopefully they'll get more that are really involved with the industry coming through. I know there's a few young ones hoping to get their enough trial rides in so they can ride, and enough horses to have them. And I know I've only got the ride on Majestic 1 until Saley gets his licence through, so he'll be out there riding them soon, I think. But look, well, if they need me, I'm there. So, yeah.
Well, that's great. I'm sure anyone listening right now that's maybe considering putting their trotter in a Monte, you might get a number of phone calls after this interview.
Well, yeah, Todd Mitchell thinks he's my agent, so yeah, if they want to ring him.
Fantastic. Well, Catherine, congratulations on the win, and I'm sure many more to come your way.
Thank you, Jess.
Well, he was MIA last week, which is understandable when you've got a busy golf life to uphold. But, Richard, great to have you back on board, and it looks as though it was a tough start to the week last week at Addington.
Yes, it certainly was, Jess, and the week before was a pretty tough one as well. I was having counselling, I think, last week, really, on the golf course, trying to get over what had happened last week. It's like the punters are playing like the Black Caps, while the bookies are playing like Pakistan at the moment. So, yeah, it's all good for the punters, I suppose, but we'll have to try and turn things around coming up. At Addington on Thursday night, yeah, it was a tough start for punters. Just the two favourites winning there, and that was well down on the recent average. The only winner on the night not to drift in the market was Franco Josiah. He was very steady at the $6, didn't move from that price, and some punters got some nice returns there. The biggest miss of the night, that was Stickman. There was a $6,500 bet on him at $1.80, and plenty of other smaller bets there as well. There was a whole, I think it was about close to 35,000 on him in the win book, Jess, so Stickman going down was very good for us. And there was a big move later on for Chatura in the fifth race. She was $6.50 on opening into $3.90. $500 bets at 5 and 4, and there was a $1,000 bet at $3.90. They were the tip of a rather decent iceberg, but thankfully for me, she couldn't quite get into the race.
All right, probably lulling you into a false sense of security that Thursday meeting, I'd imagine. But we'll start off with Friday night in Forbury Park, which was the start of a busy weekend.
Exactly, very busy. The favourites back on form there, 5 out of the 8 races, won by the favourite at Forbury. No huge bets showing up on the reports there, but Rip Snorter, I can tell people there, it was a very good result for punters, $3.50 into $2.90. And the other one that punters got a lot of money off, War Admiral early on, $1.75 into $1.60. And later on, Mucho Macho Man, $6.80 into $5.50. So all those three very well backed. There was $3,000 each way on Jackson Jazz that came unstuck. He was at $4.80 and $1.80 there, so a little bit back for me, but punters on top at Forbury.
Yeah, and on the same night, of course, we had Alexandra Park, and it looked as though it was a tough night for you. Again,
yeah, tough night there at Auckland. There was a big push early on, Jess, in race 1. Heisenberg opened at 21, backed right into $8. Was going to be a very bad result for us. Jesse Duke in the same race also well backed, 180 into 160. So as they come down the straight fighting it out, wasn't really good. I suppose the nose win from Jesse Duke over Heisenberg, small mercies there that we didn't lose as much as we would have had Heisenberg held on. But yeah, a terrible way to start the day. And then Dream About Me, that one strongly back, 210 into 170. There was including a $5,000 bet there at 195. That was a lot of money going out to punters there. A couple of other decent bets there, $1,000 on Ashley Locaz, spot on the money, and there was $2,000 on A Dew Flirt at 260.
and a three-header on Saturday, starting off with Invercargill in the deep south, and it looked as though punters had the better of you there, even though it's your old stomping ground.
Yes, indeed. I had to do Addington on the Saturday night, so I couldn't do Invercargill, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have made any difference. So there was 3 drifters won the first 3 races, so we got some good money there, but it was all downhill thereon. Ivana Legacy, 12.50 into 9, that started the roll. Santana's Rocket ramped it up with bolting in there, 5.50 into 3.80. And Mighty Santana provided the knockout blow, really, 3.90 into 3.50, winning the feature pace there, and he charged home down the outside to win well. A $6,000 punt on Don't Need an Excuse at $1.75, one of the few highlights for us, came about in the second last race, I think it was. A little bit back there for us, but again, punters having the better of it.
Okay, and of course we had 2 other meetings that night, remarkably. Saturday night at Addington, how did that look for you?
Yeah, well, it was a little bit better, Jess. Paducah was the big move of the night there early on. And it was the only winner to actually shorten in the market too. $3 on opening, right into $2.40, and cost us plenty of money there. $2,500 at 3, and then a $3,000 bet at $2.70, the largest bets on him. And there weren't many other large bets on the rest of the program to really talk about. Just the ones that they backed didn't win, so we got a little bit back at Addington.
All right, thank heavens for small mercies. And what about Alexandra Park that night?
Yeah, punters were going better there. Right from the start, Kai Time, 4.50 into 3.80. Red Castleton was 5 into 4.20 in race 3. And then later on, Tobruk, well found by punters, $3 into 2.40. And again, it wasn't quite all going the punters' way, though. A couple of big bets to miss. $4,000 on Tuapeka Trick at 2.20, just around the top 3. And there was a $13,000 bet on Revolver at 2.10. So, yeah, luckily those didn't win.
Okay, and on to the grass surface at Motukarara, of course, the Akaroa meeting on Sunday.
Yeah, the old Bermuda Triangle there, Motukarara, but punters were lapping it up in general. A tough day for me there. A few big bets missed out, but there are plenty of decent-sized bets doing the damage throughout the day. Stop it early on, 9.50. Didn't move off that price, but I think it was closer to 7 on the tote, so people were lapping up the 9.50. Aladdin Sane was slight drift, 2.80 up to 2.90, and that got punters off to a flying start in the first 2 races. And then they found Wild Excuse, 5.50 into 4.80 in race 4, and the big one that they latched onto, the first starter, Chilla Bay, 2.10 into 1.80. There was a $3,000 bet there at 2.10. That was the largest of a whole heap of bets on old Cardi's relation.
Mm. Yeah, interesting that seeing that bloodline still being relevant today, Richard.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's a fair while ago now, isn't it? I think 63 when he won the Cup, and $1 million, of course. Yeah. But yeah, sort of what goes around comes around, perhaps, and he looks a very good horse there. Other big move on the day was in the feature pace, Bailey's Night, 6.20 into 4.70, and when that happens, Jess, you know it's not going to be good for us. Stopping the right somewhat there, a couple of decent misses. $2,600 on Run Boy Run at 2.90, $3,000 on Selena Franco at 4.20, and there was a $7,000 bet on Demeter at 1.70 to run the top 3.
Okay, well, as you mentioned, they can be one of the trickiest meetings for everyone really on the grass. And in terms of a multi for the week, there were plenty of opportunities for punters, but you found a couple of multis.
Yeah, well, I found one on Saturday, and I thought it was pretty good. This $720 boxed multi. Our Uncle Sam to run the top 3 at $3 at the Melton Harness meeting. First Class Lady, $225 to run the top 3 at Addington, and Mikey Maguire, $170 top 3 also at Addington. So that $720 bet returned $4,820.90, and even better when you consider that punter actually put that bet on twice. So for $1,400, he got close to $10,000. So yeah, pretty good bet there. But then Sunday rolled around, and there was perhaps even a better multi, $300 on the Mott meeting. Aladdin Sane at $290, Chilla Bay $190, and Bailey's Night at 6. So the $300 there returned $9,918.
My goodness, again, that crystal ball coming into play, and well done to those punters for finding the value. It just shows it all can add up. And in terms of the futures markets, of course, as we had a Cup week, we had the feature races there open early, and you've got some open for the Auckland Carnival.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, the nominations are out now for the National Trot and the Auckland Cup. So we've got the National Trot on option 1957 and 1958. Markula, the $2.80 favourite there. Speeding Spur at 8. Inghain at 9, along with Harriet of Le Monde, Ronald J, Temporale and Woodstone there at 11. And then the Auckland Cup is option 1959 and 1960 for the top 3. Dream About Me, a bit of a shortener this week after her dominant win on the weekend. She's into 330. Turn It Up at 390. Jack's Legend and Sheriff at 10. So check out those markets there on the last day of the year, of course those races, so not too far away. And have a bet there into those Group 1s.
Fantastic. tab.co.nz, the place to head for those. And another busy enough week ahead for you?
Yes, indeed. Another massive 7 meetings again this week, Jess. No rest for the wicked. Starting off Manawatu on Tuesday and Thursday. Auckland on Friday with the Queen of Hearts, the Franklin Cup, and a couple of other Group 2s. So that'll be a good night there on Friday night, along with Addington. Auckland again on Saturday, along with Rangiora and Winton on Sunday, and the Equine Stakes there at Winton. That's always a great fillies and mares mile, so a good time expected there.
Fantastic. Well, there's so much to get through. There's 7 meetings. I really appreciate your time, Richard. And, of course, we'll catch up next week. It'll be our final catch-up for the year. But no doubt you'll be looking forward to those never-ending race meetings over the Christmas season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you forget what day it is, really, don't you? Because it's just that every day feels like a Saturday sometimes. So, yeah, really looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll be able to make some money.
Fantastic. Thanks again, Richard.
No worries. Thank you.
And in what is coming up this week in the harness racing world, starting off with Tuesday, we see the Twilight meeting for Manawatu. Second day of their meeting will be on Thursday for the Manawatu Club. Friday night we have a double header with, of course, feature racing from Alexandra Park, and also Addington Raceway will feature on Friday. Saturday, Auckland will back up, this time with a Christmas at the Races meeting on Saturday night, and Sunday, 2 meetings on Sunday, Rangiora and also Winton. And that's it for this week's Harness Half Hour. Thanks to HRNZ Marketing. Don't forget the podcast is now available on the Punters Lounge, which is on tab.co.nz, also on Spotify and iTunes.